Orlando Resort's capacity hotline. If you would like to visit Universal Studios Florida or Islands of Adventure today, please press 1. If you are planning on visiting Universal Studios Florida or Islands of Adventure. If you are staying at one of Universal Orlando Resort's hotels, please press 1. For all other guests planning to visit, please press 2.
We're sorry, but Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure are at capacity at this time. Please check back for regular updates by calling 40.
It is 8:30 at night. They close at 10. How are you still at capacity? Hello everyone. Excuse the mess behind me. We are dog sitting for the weekend, so I have dog stuff literally everywhere. I am really excited to make this video because we have an unofficial HHN30 Halloween Horror Nights 2021. Well, that feels weird to say. Halloween Horror Nights 2021 update and house announcement. So Peacock, which is like a streaming service through NBC Universal, has this like documentary series called HHN Forever. And they just so happen to, what I'm assuming is accidentally, put a like documentary and a walkthrough of one of the haunted houses that were supposed to be for this year, but is now being used for next year. So I guess our first official house announcement for 2021 is Puppet Theater Captive Audience. And I keep saying official but unofficial because until Universal says something it's unofficial, we've known that they have pooled houses very close to the event. So until they officially add it to the house line, then we can't really say it's an official announcement. So the description that I found on HalloweenHorrorNights.fandom.com says, around the 20th century, Pesky's puppet troupe from Eastern Europe set up shop at the Grandeur Theater in San Francisco. They were later joined by a ballet group. One day, the theater collapsed due to an earthquake, trapping the puppet troupe, the ballet group, and patrons inside. Slowly, all of the trapped people go mad. The puppet troupe begins taking the patrons and mutilating them by turning them into puppets. This isn't the first time that we're seeing a puppet's house. We did have Dollhouse of the Damned back in 2015, which was really weird and just smelled like baby powder, and it was not my thing, but it was still, it was okay. And then we did have Dead Silence back in 2007, which was amazing. So I hope that it's more like that rather than like Dollhouse of the Damned. So if you've seen Horror Night Nightmares speculation map, they did speculate that we would have a mannequin themed house. So it was just puppets instead. So we're assuming that if the map is correct, it'll be in Spring Tent. I believe that's number 1. It's not the entrance that's closest to the bathrooms by Men in Black, but the one right next to it. The one that's closer to the Coca-Cola Freestyle building. But let's go ahead and watch a little clip of it. This quality is not going to be the greatest because it's basically a screen record of a screen record from Sunshine Frights' Facebook page. I personally have not watched this entire video. I've only watched clips of it because I don't want to spoil it for myself. So I'm only going to show you the clips that I've already seen. But if you want to watch the whole video, the link is in the description down below. They are basically giving a description of the house and letting you know what to expect and what little tricks that they have up their sleeve in order to get a good scare out of you. Again, I tried not to watch the whole video. I really don't want to ruin it for myself. Even when I go to Halloween Horror Nights, I won't even go on YouTube until I've officially gone. Usually it's not an issue because I go opening day or I went for like team member previews. But for this time, I'm really not watching it.
Every year, this amazing event terrifies thousands of guests at Universal Studios Hollywood in California, Universal Studios Florida in Orlando, and other Universal theme parks around the globe. With incredibly detailed haunted mazes and streets filled with horrifying characters, the parks are transformed into living nightmares. So lock your doors, turn out the lights, and get ready for a look inside Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
Make a sacrifice.
Hey everybody, my name is Michael Aiello and I'm the Senior Director of Creative Development for Universal Orlando Resort. And I'm standing inside one of the amazing mazes for Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights. We are in preparations to bring you the best Halloween Horror Nights event you've ever seen for 2021. And today we're going to give you a sneak peek inside one of these haunted mazes. Coming along with us is a dear friend and collaborator, award-winning executive producer and director Greg Nicotero is going to join us as we experience Puppet Theater Captive Audience. So Charles, we're really excited to experience this. Where are we?
We are in the Grandeur Theater in San Francisco, turn of the century 1900s. This place has collapsed. And inside, this puppet troupe, Pesky's puppet troupe from the Eastern European era, has come in to set up shop. Right as they were exiting, the Gurian Ballet was also here. So these two groups have been, and some patrons and stuff. When this collapsed, they're all trapped. They all start losing their mind, and the puppet troupe begins taking the patrons, cutting them up, turning them into puppets. It's super gory in this house. Yeah. Yes, we all love that. Very, very creepy. We have all sorts of different kinds of puppets. Any kind of puppet you could think of, we have here. I mean, there is puppet, puppet, puppet.
So this video did get a lot of attention. There were tons and tons of tweets about it, and eventually Peacock did take it down. I'm assuming this video was not supposed to get released, and Universal probably made a big mistake. This house honestly looks like it's going to be amazing. I'm not really like scared of dolls. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, this is so creepy. But just looking at the video and looking at what I did watch while also trying to keep it spoiler-free for myself, it does look really, really cool. Sometimes I'm worried with houses like these because they can really go either way. Either they're going to be really good or they're going to be the worst house of the year. Like, in my honest opinion, if Bride of Frankenstein and Tooth Fairy were open next year, or the event had happened this year with all these houses, I feel like Tooth Fairy probably would have been the weakest house. Yet people are saying that that's the best house that's there right now because there's only 2 options. And honestly, the more I walked through the Bride of Frankenstein, the more I loved it. Tooth Fairy does have maybe a little bit more scares, but I just feel like this house was not that great. The storyline of it was really unique, and the different like set designs and all of that were really, really cool. But to me, it just wasn't scary because it was the same thing scaring you throughout the house. I also think that the plexiglass may take away a little bit too, because the things that scare me the most are when they jump like right in my face or right behind me. The fact that I subconsciously knew they couldn't really get past the plexiglass may have made it feel better. But again, you're exposed to the same like stimulus, the entire house, the same thing is scaring you throughout the whole house. So after a while, you're kind of just like, okay, like I saw that 2 seconds ago. But this house looks amazing. The different like puppets and everything look really cool and really unique. So I'm really, really excited to see this. So speaking of Halloween Horror Nights 2021 and houses that have been confirmed, houses that I think that we're not going to see next year that are on the speculation map. Obviously, I don't think we're going to have Bride of Frankenstein again or the Tooth Fairy because it just wouldn't make sense. And I don't think that Billie Eilish is coming back. So the reason that I'm saying I don't think we're going to see a Billie Eilish house next year is not just because I really hope we don't, because I don't think it fits in Halloween Horror Nights at all. At least not for the 30-year celebration. It's not worthy. I'm sorry. You guys can hate me. But from what I've heard, she actually pulled her own IP. So I wasn't sure if it was just for COVID and she just didn't want anything to do with it for this year just in case they did the event and she didn't want her name on it. But what I've been hearing is it's because she's rebranding apparently and she is leaning away from the horror genre. So I think just by the time it becomes next year, she's not going to want to do it. I have heard that she's a huge fan of Halloween Horror Nights. So in my opinion, if she had the chance to have her own house, I don't know why she would pull her IP. That is stupid. But it is what it is. So we may lose that house. And then a little birdie told me that we are for sure getting a Haunting of Hill House house, that it was already finished and built. And I'm really excited because this is my favorite show. And another 2 houses that a little birdie told me were confirmed and built already and already up and ready for this year were Beetlejuice, which obviously we all already know because we saw all the merchandise. They've pretty much done everything but confirm it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well, which I'm really excited about because the chainsaws used to be one thing that scared me the most. And I feel like having a house full of chainsaws is actually genuinely scary compared to some of the stuff that we've been seeing in the last couple of years. And then the Horror Nights Icon House, which they did something similar back in 2015 for Halloween Horror Nights 25. They did like a anniversary house, but I'm not sure if this is going to be like just the icons and just their backstory. But regardless, I'm really, really, really excited for this. And then on the speculation map, you do have another anniversary house and like a Pumpkin King house. I would be really excited for the Pumpkin King house if it was like those tall pumpkins that they have on stilts every year that like scare the crap out of me. I think that would be great. And other than that, I'm not really sure how they would make a pumpkin house scary. But then again, Scarecrow was one of my favorite houses, and I didn't think it was going to be anything when I was getting in line for it. So I never doubt them, honestly. I just kind of go with the flow and then make my judgments afterwards. And then the anniversary house. I don't know if it's gonna be like Jack Presents 25 Years of Monsters of Mayhem, if they're just gonna add the last 5 years to it and then kind of do something similar. I hope not. I hope they do something a little bit more creative. So with the removal of the Bride of Frankenstein, Tooth Fairy, and Billie Eilish, that leaves 3 empty slots for house ideas. So I don't really know where Horror Night Nightmares gets any of their information or any of their hints in order to make the speculation map, but I personally can only hope and dream that we get a Dungeons of Terror house. If you don't know, it was the first house of Halloween Horror Nights, so I think if they did a really good, like, updated version of the house, that'd be a perfect way to celebrate 30 years. So like I said, this is like an official, unofficial announcement. It hasn't been officially confirmed, or like a statement hasn't been put out yet, but they basically did confirm it by accidentally leaking this footage. After the, and excuse my language, shit show that 2020 has been, I just want to look forward to 2021. I cannot wait for more speculation to come out. Maybe they decide to change some houses, so we'll get some new information. I want to see what scare zones they come up with for the 30th anniversary. And I know that some people are really upset that they canceled it this year, but honestly, I would much rather have them cancel the event than try to do some like half-assed version of it, especially for the 30th anniversary. I'm extremely thankful that we did get the Bride of Frankenstein and Tooth Fairy houses during the day this year, because it did give us like a little taste of Halloween Horror Nights for those of us who probably would have gone through like withdrawal without it. But I'm thankful that, you know, they took a break, they're pushing it for next year, and I hope that we just get bigger and better things for next year and that they go all out. I will actually be making a do's and don'ts video when we get closer to Halloween Horror Nights of things that you should and should not do during Halloween Horror Nights. Believe it or not, there is such thing as Halloween Horror Nights etiquette. But for now, wash your hands, wear your mask, social distance, because if the event gets canceled again next year, I may lose my mind. And that is all from me for today. I'm sorry for the mess of dogs that is behind us. Again, we are dog sitting and they're wild animals. But I am literally so excited for next year. I cannot contain it. This house, honestly, from what I did watch, because again, I try not to watch a lot of it, looks amazing. I cannot wait to see how they did Hill House. I cannot wait to see the Icon House, and everyone's gonna hate me, but I really don't care for the Beetlejuice house because it's not scary to me, even though it's a really cool idea. But I am still so excited for next year. As soon as we get some more official news, I will be back to share that with you. And yeah, that's it. So hopefully I will see you at Halloween Horror Nights 2021. And as always, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Bye. That was cringy. I need to find a better way to end my videos. Bye.